Tonight, could FBI investigators at Quantico be on the verge of a critical breakthrough in the Nancy Guthrie case? Strands of hair found inside the 84-year-old's home now sent to the Bureau for advanced analysis. The move coming as the search for Nancy hits day 77. Now, you'll remember investigators were already working with a DNA sample, but it was mixed, and it will need to be separated out before it can even be analyzed. DNA experts telling NewsNation the advanced testing on this hair sample likely means investigators only found a partial hair follicle, not one with the root intact. But we know the tech exists that can solve cases even with a rootless hair. Just recently, mitochondrial DNA found on a hair collected from a Gilgo Beach crime scene linked Rex Uerman, the now admitted serial killer, to his victims. Here to discuss the very latest developments is renowned genetic genealogist CeCe Moore. CeCe, it's always so good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me again.
Tell us about what's possible even with a rootless hair. Can we successfully extract DNA from it?
Absolutely. And that is thanks to the brilliant Dr. Ed Green from UC Santa Cruz. He created and developed and now has refined a process for extracting autosomal SNP profiles from rootless hair. This was something that scientists told us could not be done. And so he proved everybody wrong just a few years ago. So this is even newer than investigative genetic genealogy being used for law enforcement purposes. This is really the most important step forward that I've seen in the last couple years, because it meant that thousands of cases that only had rootless hair, that's the hair shaft, could now use genetic genealogy to identify the suspect.
It's amazing. How long could it take to get answers about the hair sample handed over to the FBI?
Well, I am imagining that the FBI is first looking at that to determine whether it could be consistent with Nancy's hair or any of the family members or known individuals who had been in that home. If not, I am assuming that they will forward that on to Astrea Forensics, and the processing will begin at that point. It can take months. In my experience with them, I've already helped law enforcement solve 6 cases using rootless hair alone. And so I know it can be done. My guess is that because this is not a cold case yet, and most of the cases are where we're using rootless hair, that they will push this to the top of the priority list and get it done more quickly. But it's impossible to predict just how long, because sometimes the first 1 or 2 tries are not successful. I've seen cases where they had to try 3 different times before they were able to extract that SNP profile.
Is this the biggest hope that we have right now to solve this case?
You know, it's hard to predict since we don't really know what's going on in the inside, but based on what we know at the moment, this is what I'm most hopeful about, because it will be a single source DNA profile as opposed to the complex mixture that they've been trying to work with. But the question is it the suspect's hair? Is it the person who kidnapped Nancy? We won't know that until it's been processed and identified.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. With the time we have, I want to talk about the role that DNA played in solving the Gilgo Beach murders. Talk to us a little bit about that. Rex Uerman, confessing to an 8th murder last week. He was first identified as the suspect, and DNA and hair DNA really cracked this case. Tell us more about that.
Yes, and the FBI used Astrea Forensics for that case as well. It's very interesting because 9 strands of rootless hair were found on the burlap sack, on the belt, and on the tape on 6 to 7 of the victims. And this hair was traced back to Rex Uerman himself, his wife, and his daughter. And they've talked about mitochondrial DNA, but actually they used whole genome sequencing, meaning autosomal SNP DNA, to make those identifications. I believe that may be one of the reasons he decided to finally confess.
Wow. And I mean, people talk a lot about the DNA found on the pizza crust that was thrown in the trash, but you do a really good job educating us in terms of what actually solved this. It was the hair DNA first, and then they had to go out and confirm that with the DNA found on the pizza crust to determine it was a match. Is that how that worked?
Yes, that's exactly right. They were very quiet about what they were doing at first because New York is very strict about what is allowed in court. And so I believe they were doing that autosomal SNP analysis and genetic genealogy behind the scenes when they were just talking about the mitochondrial DNA. And I believe that that is exactly what happened. There was a Fry hearing back in late 2025, which is a hearing where the judge gets to decide whether that evidence can be used or not. And whole genome sequencing like this had never been accepted in a New York court. So it was a huge precedent when the judge allowed it.
Thank
And
goodness, right? Thank goodness that judge allowed that evidence to come forward. And very quickly, CeCe, before, I know you said you were confident genetic genealogy would eventually solve the Nancy Guthrie case. So many people losing hope. We're 77 days in. Do you still believe that?
I do. And I have talked about this possibility of there being rootless hair all along. And it sounds like, from what we've heard, they've had this since February. They may have been trying to do some work with it already, or perhaps they had it and didn't realize. And as they were going through all of the things they collected, they may have come across this hair and realized they had something that could break the case wide open.
CeCe Moore, wonderful to have you on tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.